Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
he can win off such a bad race in the Louisiana Derby, but it seems like he is working his way into the proverbial buzz horse role for the Kentucky Derby. I know he worked lights out this morning, 11 and change. Essential Quality worked with Spa City, and so, he's going to be your favorite undefeated 2-year-old champion. So next Saturday will be the final works, and that'll be the big day, and I'll be there too. So when we talk next week, I'll be at Churchill Downs. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully I can add a few things and some insight when we get together next week. And like I said, Saturday will be the final work day for the majority of the horses, Friday, Saturday, that kind of thing. So that'll be the final big work. So we'll have to see. But you know how it is, Seth. There's always that buzz horse, hot horse, now horse that seems to emerge at Churchill Downs that kind of, touts himself. You think back in the days of Barbaro and Street Sense, and that was the work kind of thing. It's not necessarily the case as much anymore, because a lot of horses do their heavy lifting at their home track typically, and then ship in Derby week. But we've seen it quite a lot in the past on horses that have really touted their form. So it'll be interesting to see if there is one, or who that horse is this year.
Yeah, I've been saying for the past week, I think with the triple digit, Rock Your World is going to get a lot of juice over the next couple of weeks as well.
The only one, Scott? The only one with the triple digit?
Yeah, which I think is going to, as I say, attract a lot of attention. And Known Agenda coming out of the Florida Derby is going to, and the Hidden Stash, I think, if you're looking for a horse underneath at a price. But again, like you, I am not locking in. You don't want to be locked into your horses 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. See how they work and wait and handicap a day or two ahead. You can get started, but don't settle in until all the information is available. And speaking of all the information, let's give some information out for this Saturday afternoon. I'll take a look at Aqueduct a little bit later on, but you'll kick things off with Keeneland for Saturday. Again, you can find Brian's selections for the Keeneland meet every Keeneland racing day at capitalotb.com. Click on the Handicappers report link. Today's opener, a starter allowance. They're going to go 7 furlongs. Your thoughts on race 1?
Yeah, like I said, and I'll update these after scratch. I think the weather's okay this weekend. It's been a little tricky at Keeneland, but I think it's okay today. So that opener really picked 5 times.
We're getting a shot of the track there. The guys pulled up a shot of the, I'm assuming a live shot. Looks nice. A little cloudy, but it looks nice.
Looked a little cold there the other day. I don't know about that, so we'll see what happens. But 6-2 over the 1 for me. Nothing, no great shakes here. Super solid. I don't really like the fact he doesn't have a lot of early speed, but it's a short field. There does appear to be a couple of horses to his inside that want to go early. He has good dirt form, even though he's been coming in off the synthetic races at Turfway, but he looks to be in a good spot here. Number 2, Hold Me Back, will be up close for Matt Shire, off a class drop from Fairgrounds, and he stretches out a little bit too, so that probably puts him in front. And then number 1, Bless the Kitten downside, another Turfway horse with synthetic form that is an unknown. Believe it or not, he's run 13 times, has never run on dirt, but certainly not bred for it, but it's certainly his form is good. So he's in the mix as well. But a short horse field opener, 6-2 over the 1 for the 1 sheet.
Short 5-horse field in race 2, allowance runners with a chalky favorite in here. They will travel 1 1/8 miles.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot to say here, Seth. Just straight 3-5. I mean, Ashar for Pletcher, good second at the level at Oakland. We talked about $105,000 allowance, Seth.
That day, I saw this horse in. I said, why is Todd Pletcher sending a horse for an allowance? Oh, okay. It's a $105,000 purse. Yikes.
There you go. Man alive, can you imagine? And he was a good second. He was a fast second. And as you mentioned, a 5-horse field. And there is not a lot in here. Portos, we'll call him the other Todd, certainly needed his comeback last time, but he was kind of dreadful that day. I would assume he'll like stretching out. He'll like the added ground. but he looks like a distant second to his stablemate. Just 3-5 for me in race 2. Only picked 4 times, so you've got a single in there if you need it.
Yeah, I remember that day. Why does Pletcher have a horse at Oaklawn for an allowance race? Oh, $105,000, that's why. Third race at Keeneland this afternoon. Maiden Specials going 5.5 on the grass.
Yeah, you mentioned Wesley Ward, Seth, and he's got a few in here. I'm going to try to beat him. 6-10 over the 8-9. Let Them Eat Cake for Ian Wilkes, a guy that typically aims for Keeneland. And it's really, you look at Let Them Eat Cake, and it kind of looks that way here, right? She ran in August at Saratoga, a kind of a close 6th to sprinting, layoff to March at Gulfstream. She gets the prep out of the way. I thought she ran very well in her comeback. Now it's the old all systems go angle. Second off the long layoff here at Keeneland. Let's put her on top. The Ward Forster 6 feet apart with John Velasquez. Outside, plenty of works here. There is a bullet in the holster. Wesley's a big 31% with debut runners, so I would think she's going to run well. American Goddess. Megan's Clara actually in 3rd for Joe Sharp. A good 3rd turf sprinting at Fairgrounds. Ursulina was good looking that day for Al Stahl. And then American Goddess hasn't been out since September. That's almost like a good thing with Wesley, the way his horses are coming back. And clearly he's got everyone to aim for Keeneland. So that helps. But she was 0 for 7. She's only hit the board once, Seth. So she'll be an underlaid price. You know, maybe she wires this field. I'll play against it. 6-10 over the 8-9 in the 3rd.
Race number 4, Maiden 20 Claimers, going 7.
4-7 over the 1-8. I like the job Tommy Drury does. Spots his horses well, doesn't run a lot of horses. Here's Bless Them, is going to run for only the 3rd time, is going to cut back on the main track, was in for 50 at Churchill in May, hasn't been seen since, but Tommy does have a win off this long layoff, just kind of looks like the right spot. He's going to put Malcolm Franklin on. He's ridden this horse in the past, might be a spot to try to get him a win here at Keeneland. Let's try this one in the comeback. Jailhouse Code ran for 50 off the claim for Mike Maker and really didn't do a lot of running. Went 4th, and now immediately drops her in for 20, and I don't think that's a great sign, Seth. Claimed her from Paul McGee for 50, now is in for 20, just 2 starts removed. That says tread lightly for me. War Empress down inside for Barb Minchell, who we know from up at Woodbine. The Tampa turf form, the Woodbine synthetic form. A real wild card here in her dirt debut, but she's got decent enough form to say she can get a piece here. And then Graciana as well, Darren Miller, and then the MSW dropper adding Lasix. 4-7, 1-8. It's a tricky race set in the 4th if you're playing this early pick 5 and pick 4.
Race number 5 at Keeneland marks the halfway point. Starter allowance for a $50,000 level group of runners going a mile on the grass.
Seth, I struggled coming up with a best bet on the day, and I only had one single A, and that was the Pletcher horse early on, was Ashar, and certainly I wasn't going to give him out at 2-5 as a play of the day. So what I did was I took Summer Palace as my play of the day. 4-9 over the 10-5. Joe Sharp claimed this one from Brendan Walsh off an easy, rousing win at Keeneland. Yes, he steps up, but I like the fact that Joe's going to run him in a spot where he can't lose him. So that's a confident move. The breakthrough win last time. And other than Newsbreak, who I have in 2nd, I don't think there's a heck of a lot in here, Seth. And Summer Palace is still only run 8 times, lightly raised. Joe's a good enough 11% off the claim, and this horse comes in off such a breakthrough win. I'm going to try him on top here as my play of the day. Certainly Newsbreak is the horse to beat, but this outside post, he was an okay 3rd at Fairgrounds, and Durain is really, really nice for Brad Cox. And just ran in the Shadwell Mile last week. But that race absolutely fell apart late. So Newsbreak was a little flattered by the pace that day. So I'm slightly against him here. Casanova Kitten for Wesley Ward. Blinkers come off. He's had a couple races at Gulfstream and Turfway that were solid enough, but he's a little slow on figures, and that race last time at Gulfstream won't cut it here. So 4-9, 10-5 for me, my play of the day. Number 4, Summer Palace 7-2 on the morning line.
All right, let's pop over to our first break. When we come back, we'll complete our look at Keeneland for Saturday and then shift our attention to Aqueduct, so please stay tuned.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Want to take advantage of everything Capital OTB has to offer? Become a Capital Bets account holder today. It's quick and easy, and now for the month of April, it's our new member sign-up bonus. Simply make a minimum deposit of $200, bet $400, and receive a $200 cash bonus deposited directly into your new account. That's $200 free money from Capital OTB, so sign up today and win more with Capital OTB.
Birdstone is it outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes Hot Chaparral. Hot Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Saturday morning, April 17th. Again, I'll have Aqueduct a little bit later on, but we're in the midst of a Saturday at Keeneland, race number 6 on this Saturday afternoon. Maiden specials going 6 furlongs. Your thoughts on the 6th?
Yeah, Seth, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I always kind of felt that the pick 5s and pick 4s in Kentucky were somewhat lackadaisical for their support, little subpar maybe. I don't know if you've noticed that, but the light bulb's gone on. They have been sending it in at Keeneland. They've been getting over 1 million. They've been getting like 750, 800 during the week. It's a great bet. So it starts here in race 6, the late pick 5, and it's a super tough sequence. I think this one, maybe this race here, should be a little formful. 6-5 over the 1 for me. I went with the speed of Jerry's Secret. I don't see a lot of early pace in here. He's been in very, very good form, albeit at Turfway. He's never run on the main track, on the dirt, I should say, but he's hit the board in 3 starts at Turfway. I like the fact that he's got a tactical advantage over his main rival, Pledge of Allegiance, so I'll put him on top. Certainly Pledge of Allegiance is the horse to beat, but he does come in off a layoff for Paul McGee. Is going to run as a first-time gelding, and if he runs back to the second at Churchill, he's going to win this race. But maybe you wonder, A, is 6 furlongs a little short, and B, is a little bit of a comeback tightener for him. So I put him underneath Diamond State, getting back to the main track for Tim Ham. I think bodes well. I think he might be a little bit of a cut below off the Tampa race. 6-5 over the 1. I'll be a little chalky here to start out this late pick 5.
You know, you mentioned the pick bet, and I'll bring up some news from the past week if folks didn't see it. And I talked at the top of the hour, I talked with Pat McKenna about this.
I think it's great.
I was going to ask your opinion. And again, top of the hour, I have Nancy Holthus from Oaklawn. We'll talk the stakes today. And she reviews last week's stakes as well. But Pat McKenna, fans coming back to New York racetracks. But there was other New York news. And one of the things they announced, they're coming back with the traditional pick 6. Getting rid of the Empire, the jackpot concept, and it's a traditional pick 6, but it'll be a $1 increment. And they're going to start that with I believe, the start of the Belmont meet. And so we talked a little bit about that. But when I first heard, I'm kind of a fan of the jackpot. I like that, although I don't play the pick 6 all that often to begin with. But if there's a pool down at Gulfstream, I may jump in because I think the consolation. You can get $1,200 on a constellation sometimes, and so I played around with those jackpots, and certainly on mandatory days. So I like the jackpot. I don't play a lot of the pick 6, but I said to Pat later, and as I started to think about this, I think there are a lot of bettors who weren't in favor of the jackpot, like the traditional, and I think NYRA gives themselves a niche now where they're going to kind of be the only person out there, the only entity out there with that bet available. So I think those people that were kind of waiting for the return will gravitate to New York.
I think it's a game changer, Seth. I think it's awesome. I golf clap and commend them. I think it will be huge. I think the pool will be upwards of $200,000 a day. It's only 15% takeout. The dollar still lets the quote-unquote little guy have some fun at the party, too. I think it's phenomenal, Seth. I couldn't be happier when I read that press release the other day. I'm so excited. I think it will be hugely successful, Seth, and I think it's an awesome job by them and the powers that be to huddle up and put it together because, as you mentioned, they're not out there anymore, and the fact that it's $1, I think it's a game changer, Seth. I really do. I think at Saratoga especially, but I remember when they got rid of the pick six at Saratoga a few years back, even on like a random dumb Wednesday, they were getting close to $100,000 in a $2 pick six. I think this is going to be huge. I think even on a Thursday at Belmont, they'll handle $150,000. So I can't wait. I think it's awesome, Seth. I was so amped when I saw it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because, like I say, they're pretty much the only ones out there now. They're going to be playing that game, and so folks maybe who, as I say, were waiting for something like this to come back will aim towards New York. All right, let's get back to Keeneland. 7th race this afternoon. Allowance non-winners of 2 other than 5.5 on the grass.
Tough race. 7, 6, 4, 5, 2. I wanted value. I wanted tactical speed, and you get it with Moore, who was a head second at Sam Houston. Now, this is the big leagues. I understand that. But if you're a buyer guy, she ran an 80 that day off a long layoff for Brett Calhoun. She pressed, surged to the lead, and just got nipped at the line. Perfect comeback. She's going to have to run better, but at least she's fast enough to do it. She'll be a nice price, and you want these interior middle posts going this 5.5 furlong distance. Notorious RBG for Kristoff. Another 1 second off the long layoff. She ran well to win last time at Tampa. Yes, she steps up and will have to run better. Every right to do so. Chili Pettin for Wesley Ward. Hasn't been out since June of last year. She's got a lot of speed, and we saw it on, I think it was Thursday, with Maven, who basically broke running off the layoff for WW, and the race was over 3 strides out of the gate. Chili Pettin will try to do the same today. She is very, very fast. That's very, very dangerous. And I'll mention Ready for Change. I did not love her second win at Fairgrounds. Her debut was awesome. Neil Pessin had her as an MTO in a couple of these races, but she's very, very good and very, very fast. It's one of the reasons I didn't pick Chili Pettin. I think Ready for Change could keep her on, and she's a very talented horse. Turf debut today. We'll see what we get. 7, 6, 4, 5, 2. If you're playing this late pick 5 and late pick 4, good luck here. This is a toughie.
8th race at Keeneland, optional claimer with the non-winners of 3 other than condition. 8.5 furlongs will be the trip.
And this is another one, Seth. 5, 7, 2, 3, 6. We talked about Luis Saez. He's on empty tune. I think the reason I picked this horse is because of Luis Saez. I'm not a jockey's guy, but Luis is very, very good at getting a horse early position, and I think that's key at Keeneland, going a mile and 16, the short finish line. So I think empty two will be a little closer than he is traditionally on the dirt. I put him on top. Top seed hasn't been out since June for Shug McGahee, but he's very tactical, very talented, very lightly raced. Royal Mesa is very, very dangerous on his dirt form, but he might get outrun. And certainly South Bend, who's got some class to him off all those grade 1 races, that's a 3-year-old, but he hasn't been out since October, and he's got no speed whatsoever. I don't see how he can get up today, Seth, and he's going to be bet, and he's going to be an underlay price. He's a nice horse, but going a mile and a 16th at the short finish line with his lack of early speed, he is so much up against it today. You have to play against him, to me, off the layoff and all. 5'7", 236 in a really, really tough 8th race.
Yeah, I handicapped the card, obviously, for OTB Live later, and I took a pop against South Bend, too. And I'm going to be interested. He's the morning line favorite, kind of lukewarm at 7-2. But I'll be interested to see. There is that back class, and it is Bill Mott, so will the betting public go? The last couple of races were not good, however. However, they were the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont Derby, the Belmont Derby being on turf, but there were some decent turf races. I'm interested to see what he goes off at. But I'll mention one more thing, because I think there was a Woodbine horse when we did this show last week or 2 weeks ago, and I mentioned, kind of interesting that, they elect to come with a Woodbine horse. Well, now it's gotten to the point, there was one yesterday that I commented during OTB Live, and Mighty Heart for Josie Carolyn here. In a normal situation, I would find these horses intriguing. Oh, Woodbine-based horse, and this time of year, they're showing up at Keeneland. But folks have to remember, this is like the only option. They're not going back to Woodbine. Woodbine hasn't opened yet, and they're on that COVID pause, and so I'm sure Josie Carroll would prefer to be shooting for a Woodbine Stakes race. There was one yesterday, as I say, as well, and you have to look at what would normally be kind of an interesting, maybe clever angle is a little bit different this year.
Yeah, and he's going to be overbet. I know he won the Prince of Wales in what was his only dirt start, but he's a synthetic horse to me, and I had him 5th in this race, Seth. I don't see him being a player. It looks like he's gotten plenty of work at Palm Meadows, but you're right for sure, Seth. He's, you would think he'd be running somewhere close at Woodbine. Now, maybe this is a comeback, and they can hopefully, knock on wood for our friends up there, get going in May or something like that. But, yeah, I think he's in a tough spot today, isn't he? I mean, he's a nice horse. He's clearly got a lot of class to him. He's a Queen's Plate winner, but yeah, he's taken a lot of the worst of it today, in my opinion.
All right, let's move on to the feature on Saturday afternoon at Keeneland. Race number 9, the Elkhorn Grade 2 event. A couple $100,000 up for grabs as they're on the turf at a marathonish 1.5 miles.
Yeah, it's a good race, too. A lot of different ways you can go here. I went 6'2", 10'1", the tactical speed of Tide of the Sea, and it's Mike Maker, and we know how good he is in these marathons. And I thought this horse ran well last time. Phantom Courtesy got loose in that race at Gulfstream. That was one of those Rainbow Six races, and forgot to stop. He chased him the whole way. He's going to be very, very tactical, right on or just off the lead. Mike does a great job with these turf marathons. He's very lightly raced with 11 starts. He's been in the Exacta in 8 of them. He's got a win on the Keeneland turf, and I think Tide of the Sea is really poised maybe for a breakthrough here. Say the Word, I think, is clearly the horse to be off that very big and very fast second to United, who would be 3 to 5 in here for Richard Mandela. And look at how fast Say the Word is. A 101, a 102, a 101 showing in 3 of his last 4 races. Let's draw a line through the Pegasus World Cup turf from a bad post, and his 3 races around that are just better than these. So he's a huge threat. Number 10 to the outside, Red Knight is a danger too for Bill Mott. Doesn't have a lot of speed. I think that's a little problematic, but he's another one. 2 for 2 in the Exacta at Keeneland. He was second in this race last year. And then the old guy from Maker cross border down inside, 7 years old now. We're very familiar with him in New York. So contention runs very, very deep in the Elkhorn. I went with the speed of number 6, Tide of the Sea, 6'2", 10'1".
We will wrap it up on Saturday afternoon, early Saturday evening, about 6 o'clock. 10th race, optional claimer starter allowance, 3/4 mile.
Well, a tough one, Seth, to end it quickly. 11, 12, 8, 3, 6. The Marianne Scherer, the Scherer family does a very good job. Claim this one from Carl Berberg. Back to the main track. Tactical speed in a race with some hitting up front. He'll be close throughout. Should be a decent price. Let's try to end it that way in what is a very, very competitive, tough card on the penultimate Saturday. No, the last Saturday at Keeneland. Churchill opens next Saturday, so we'll close it. Yeah, last Saturday of the Keeneland meet. So good stuff today. Hopefully everybody's firing on their Capital OTB Bets account.
Sounds good. We'll take a break, shift our attention to Aqueduct. Stay tuned.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
The Clubhouse Racebook is the Capital Region's new home for racing and sports. 25,000 square feet of Vegas-style action with live wagering on the best horse racing from around the world. 260 flat-screen televisions and state-of-the-art wagering terminals. So don't miss out. The fun is only minutes away at 711 Central Avenue, Albany, just off exit 5 of I-90. And don't forget, if you can't make it to the Clubhouse, you can always wager online 24/7 at capitalotv.com.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the Capital Region? Tell them, Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Brian and Seth with you on 2 weeks out from Kentucky Derby, so we've been chatting a lot about that. A big day at Oakland as well with that seismic matchup of Monomoy Girl and Swiss Skydiver in the Apple Blossom. But before we went to break, I got through 10 at Keeneland in what is a very, very good, strong, solid card there. And Seth is ready to roll at Aqueduct on a 9-race card. Hopefully the weather cooperates. I caught a little bit of the Yankees game last night, and it was dry. My darn Mets get rained out every single day, but it was dry in New York yesterday, so hopefully it will be today, and we'll be on the turf here in that 120 opener. It's $20,000 claimer. Phillies and Mares 3-0. We go a flat mile, one-turn mile on the main track.
Did I read, as you mentioned that, did I read correctly the Mets have only played like half of their scheduled games?
Oh, my goodness, Seth, that's like a nightmare. They had the COVID thing because of the Nationals, so they missed their first 3 games, and then they were rained out 3 games in a row. Well, I say that they were rained out 2 games in a row in New York. Then they went to Denver last night and got snowed out. So they've got a doubleheader today. They already played a doubleheader against the Phillies the other day. So it has been very less than ideal for Steve Cohen's first year in ownership. But as a seasoned, tried and true Mets fan, I would expect nothing less. So, yeah.
Very good. All right, the first at Aqueduct, I have it 1, 5, 4, and 3. I put excess capacity on top. Just master of the obvious here for the Linda Rice trainee. Claimed out of a win for 16. Then they got ambitious and tried Stakes Company off the claim. Went okay, an okay 4th, but gets back down into the claiming ranks today and picks up Jose Ortiz. So I'll put that one on top. Darius Angel. Darius Angel is actually the favorite, the morning line favorite. 7-5 versus 8-5 for excess capacity. Orlando Noda, who the bar may be heating up a little bit, it seems like, recently. Darius Angel finished in front of my top pick. Last time finished behind my top pick 2 starts ago. So again, the morning line's probably about right. The betting public will go back and forth. I tilted towards excess capacity over Darius Angel. Violent Trick in the 3rd spot, who was behind the top 2 in that little stakes race last time. But 3 back at the 16 claiming level was just behind excess capacity. So like that top pick and really like the second pick as well, getting back to this level of the claiming ranks should be a competitor. And this one's 8-1 as compared to the chalky prices on the top 2, and I think stacks up nicely with those 2 on a best effort. In the opener at Aqueduct, 1, 5, 4, and 3.
All right, early pick 4 time in the second. We hope we're on the inner turf here. It's a maiden claimer, state breds, tags 40, 3-0. We go a mile on that inner turf course.
If it should go to the dirt, I have it 9-7-2. Again, on the dirt, 9-7-2. But on the turf, I'm sticking with the 9, 8-2-7. I put vodka lemonade on top. Why do I keep with this one, turf or dirt? Pretty good record on both surfaces. Spent the winter on the dirt. Ran well, solid buyers as compared to this bunch. Now, has had 5 tries and hasn't gotten it done yet, but drops in for a tag today for Mike Maker with Jose Ortiz on board. So I just think class-wise, this horse is going to stack up very nicely with this group. And again, either surface is going to be fine. Bricko in the second spot for Jim Bond on a best effort horse belongs. The season ender last year was not much. It was a little bit of a disappointment, but pretty much every other race on the page puts this horse right in the thick of things here. Question is obviously going to be fitness, and I've said this now ever since the turf racing started a week or so ago in New York. We're going to have this period where some of these turf horses will have had this layoff, and you'll just have to kind of look at the workouts and maybe become familiar with trainer patterns and whatnot as far as horses coming back in their fitness level. But there's a steady string of workouts for a Bricko, so I'll put that one in. And Jade's Dream, couple of dirt starts in February and March, but I went back to the 3 turf starts at the end of last season, and I think this horse, to me, seems better on turf, has a little bit of early speed. 3rd start of the season, return to the turf. This one could be very interesting as well. In the second at Aqueduct, 9, 8, 2, and 7.
All right, outer turf time in the 3rd. It looks like a really good race, too. It's a state-bred allowance, 1X. 3 and up, we go 6 on that outer turf course. Seth, a lot of good prospects in here.
Yeah, absolutely. On the dirt, I have it 5, 1, and 9. And I'll stick with the 5 on the turf. 5, 4, 3, and 1 for me on the turf. City Mischief. Again, another horse that turf or dirt seems well suited to this group. But on the turf, first couple of starts of the career were off the turf first, down at the fairgrounds. They were okay. Then got to the turf, the preferred surface, obviously, in the 3rd start of the career for Mark Cassidy, and broke through down at the fairgrounds. All 3 of the starts were at the fairgrounds. And that is also notable because racing at the fairgrounds means this New York bred was facing open company. So now comes up to New York off improving numbers in the first 3 starts, off a good main breaker on the turf, and faces New York breds for the first time. Jose Ortiz on board, City Mischief on top for me. Bartolino in the 2nd spot. Again, a Jim Bond runner. Nice career debut win back in early December. Has been off since then. May come back with a little added maturity this afternoon and be a real player in here. And Big Wonder. 33 starts, only a couple wins. But number-wise, this horse always throws a number that is going to match up very well with this bunch. I would like to see maybe a little more oomph on the win end for this one to have much confidence. But I have it down in the 3rd spot, and I think it's certainly a horse that if you're playing the vertical bets, you have to put Big Wonder in the mix because there have been 33 starts, only a couple of wins, but 12 times in the money. And again, it's going to fit very nicely with this bunch this afternoon. 3rd from Aqueduct, 5, 4, 3, and 1.
All right, on to race 4. Now, this is a mandatory payout, Empire 6, that they're still doing. Seth and I talked about how on April 22nd, not April 23rd, Governor Cuomo, April 22nd, Aqueduct opens, Belmont opens, not April 23rd. They'll return to the dollar pick 6, but they still do mandatory here. $8,000 claimer, 3-year-olds and up going 6.5 furlongs.
5, 6, and it was also interesting, speaking of Governor Cuomo, he made the announcement about the track opening up like 3 hours after he was at Belmont Park.
Well, I mean, if you're not in the loop, I'm tongue-in-cheek here. It's awesome, okay, first and foremost. It's absolutely awesome that fans now are going to be able to return in some way, shape, or form to Belmont and then, for our purposes, Saratoga. It's great. But apparently, the governor wanted to make this announcement for opening day at Belmont. So he said on April 23rd is when it'll go into effect. Well, Belmont opens April 22nd, not April 23rd. I mean, really.
For people unfamiliar, he did it last Wednesday, and he was early Wednesday afternoon. He was at Belmont, and made some COVID press release comments and whatnot. And then he had a telephone press conference like 3 hours later, and it was there. He mentioned the race. It's like, yeah, you were at the racetrack. Why didn't you talk about it? But
you can't make it.
Again, we just have to be happy with the announcement, the fans getting back. And again, we'll have conversation about that on Racing Across America in a few. But the 4th at Aqueduct, 5, 6, 3, and 4, honorable service on top. It's Rudy Rodriguez. Tried some restricted stakes company last time, but now not only gets back for a tag, but gets back for a much, much reduced tag. This is normally the kind of drop that would make you go, I'm a little leery, but they claimed the horse for this price back in January, so they were ambitious and ran against better, obviously, over the past few starts. But the drop, I think, is a little more palatable, given the fact that, again, it was the claim price from a few starts back. Mind the Coin in the second spot. The last race was disappointing. Maybe it was the sloppy track, because certainly the race just before was pretty good. The horse is maybe a little bit inconsistent, but typically shows some early speed. I'm hoping we get back to that this afternoon. And then the Great Dansky, tried stakes company last time, first off the claim. This is second off the claim, and second off the claim drops in for a tag. Again, it's a little bit of a suspicious drop in that there aren't any races on the page this low, and most are against, I would say, significantly better, but the claimed out of race 2 back was 16, today's 8, so overall it's, as I say, perhaps a little bit palatable. In the 4th at Aqueduct, I have it 5, 6, 3, and 4.
All right, one more before the break here. Back on the inner, it's State Bred 1X, 3 and up, we go a mile.
I have it, if it's on the dirt, 5, 10, and 9. On the turf, 4, 6, 2, and 5. Barley 1 on top. Comes up from Fairgrounds for Mike Stidham and comes off a really nice win against conditional claimers. I talk about it a lot. I really like the class move from State Bred Allowance into an open claimer, an open conditional claimer. I think it's maybe a little bit of a negative going the other way. I just thought that win last time was good enough that if this horse can come back and maybe pair up a couple like that, even this class move is going to be not going to be an obstacle for this one. So I'll put Barley 1 on top. Second slot, I'll go with Austrian. Comes up from Gulfstream, having run well in some starter allowances recently, so I think is a solid fit for Danny Gargan. And Mo Faith off the career debut win for Kelly Breen, middle of March down at Gulfstream. Always got to appreciate when a horse can win first time out of the box, and this one did it fairly nicely. So Mo Faith in the 3rd spot with Jose Ortiz on board. 4, 6, 2, and 5 for me in the 5th.
All right, that'll bring us to our final break here on the Saturday Handicap Report. 5 down at Aqueduct. When we come back, late pick 4 time. Stay tuned.
I'm Seth Merrow, and as serious horse players, we know that information is critical when placing a bet. With live streaming of more than 30 tracks, race replays, free past performances, and daily picks from professional handicappers, no one gives you more up-to-the-minute information than Capital OTB. Combine that with the best player awards in New York State, and you have everything a serious horse player needs to be successful.
Win more with Capital OTB.
Winning starts here.
The Capital Region has some of the most sophisticated horse racing fans in the country. That's why Capital OTB built the Clubhouse Racebook. Here you can wager year-round on the best horse racing from around the world. The Clubhouse also has monthly promotions including live bankrolls, handicapping contests, and so much more. Like sports? Watch your favorite teams on more than 30 screens in Legends Field Sports Grill. Food, sports, and the excitement of championship horse racing. Only at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Come on!
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops, my bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Saturday Handicappers Report. Brian and Seth with you. 10 down at Keeneland, 5 down at Aqueduct, and what that leaves us with is a good late pick 4 with a couple of stakes races as well. The 6 is a 3-year-old and up 25K, 2L, we go a mile on the main track.
5, 6, 1, and 2 up with Giant Shoes on top. Brad Cox, trainee. Ran fourth against a little bit better last time. Has kind of steadily been moving down the claiming ranks. Made that move I liked last time. I mentioned it just a few minutes ago. State bred allowance into an open conditional claimer. Given the fourth place finish, it was a little bit disappointing. But this wasn't the scenario that it really plays into. That was a July to March layoff, so the layoff had an effect, obviously. I think now, second time back and a little additional class relief, Giant Shoes becomes a little more attractive, perhaps. My first Grammy, lots of positional early speed. Tried this type of company last time and was a decent second, well-beaten second, but, was ahead of the rest of the pack, obviously, and that was first start after breaking the maiden in the 13th career start. So I just think this is one of those, took a while to kind of figure it out, and now is putting it together, has some experience at this level now. Third spot, Million, goes out for Todd Pletcher. 5-2 on the morning line. I think that makes it, makes it the second choice. Profusion is the 2-1 favorite. But Million, a short price on the morning line. I didn't know what to do with this one. First two starts of the career were on turf, and one of those was okay. Then broke the maiden for a 50 tag down at Gulfstream on dirt. And then he tried to Sam Davis, and the horse showed nothing in there. Probably better than that, but they come back for the 25 tag after having broken the maiden for 50 and trying Stakes Company. You got to have a better crystal ball than me to kind of figure out what the situation is here with that one. Also coming back with a first-time gelding symbol. So I put Million down, but I don't think you can leave it out, but put that one down a little bit in the mix for me. In the sixth at Aqueduct, 5, 6, 1, and 2.
All right, race 7 is the first of two of those stakes races I alluded to. It's a New York Stallion, 3-year-old state bred, 6.5 on the main, and we've got a big $200,000 purse on the line, Seth.
Always do root for the locals, and so rooting for NEF's Racing up in Saratoga. I say it all the time. I haven't yet made it up, but this season. But swing by, grab a lobster roll or some fried clams up at NEF's. But they also have a nice little stable of horses too. Lobster being one of those for Gary Siaka. So again, rooting for them. Have it down at the bottom of the mix. I think Lobster is a player, but I went 3, 5, 4, and 7. I put It's Gravy on top. Disappointed a little bit in the Damon Runyon last time. Now the horse was 13-1, but was beaten third, 11 lengths back. The Maiden Breaker 2 back I thought was pretty good, and there was a pretty good try in a similar stakes race to this, 3 starts back. I'm looking at those, the 2 starts and 3 starts back races. If we can get back to those, I think It's Gravy, very interesting this afternoon. Market Alert in the second spot, Jose Ortiz on board, a winner of an optional claimer last time in the 3-year-old seasonal debut. It was an improved effort, so this may just now be an improved 3-year-old. And off the 83 Beyer debut, Sinful Dancer, still a maiden, but boy, that was a pretty good looking number and a good looking performance despite a poor start. So Sinful Dancer may wind up being the one to beat. In the 7th at Aqueduct, 3, 5, 4, and 7.
All right, race 8, another one of those stakes. This one's on the inner turf, 3-year-olds in the Woodhaven. We go a mile in the 16th.
I'm going to stick with Sifting Sands. I liked them last time down at Tampa. I will stick there. 7, 1, 4, and 5. Chad Brown, Peter Brandt debuted up at Saratoga at the end of the meet. Disappointed running 6th that day, but then had a little bit of a layoff. Came back as a 3-year-old down at Tampa, middle of March, and showed up as an improved 3-year-old, winning nicely. Nice gutsy performance to win as the favorite. Probably will have to step it up a little bit in here. I don't think that's out of the question being lightly raced. I think there probably still is some upside potential, so I'll go with Sifting Sands. Hard Love in the second spot. A couple of decent starts last year. The Maiden Breaker was good looking, and then they went into a stakes race, and only the second career start ran a good second. This one off the layoff has the chance to come back as an improved 3-year-old. And Shoddy, good second place last time as the favorite down at Tampa. That was the seasonal debut, and I think should benefit from that start. In the 8th, the Woodhaven, 7, 1, 4, and 5.
Aqueduct Finale in the 9th, onto the outer turf in a maiden claimer. state bred 40s, fillies and mares, 3 and up. We go 6 on that outer turf course.
Yeah, and if it's on the dirt, I'm just sticking because there wasn't enough here to make any delineation, turf or dirt. I have it 5, 4, 10, and 2. I think the 11 is playable as well. Tails, I win it on top. Christophe Clement runner tossed in a dud in the debut, but it was an off-the-turf event last September. Well, September 2019, actually. So now comes back for a tag, and as a 4-year-old, I think this horse could be a little bit interesting on that whole scenario and offer a little bit of value, too. So for me, 5, 4, 10, and 2 in the night at Aqueduct. Again, you can find the selections if you go to capitalotv.com, click on the Handicappers report link. Brian has Keeneland today. I have Aqueduct. Brian, thanks for the thoughts today. Overall, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but I don't think we got an overall. How do you think the Keeneland meet's going so far? I've been really enjoying Keeneland. I've had a couple of nice scores. I told Mike on the stakes preview, recorded the stakes preview yesterday morning, and I was playing in a contest Thursday afternoon, and I want to say it was the finale. I had the favorite on top. I was playing in a contest to qualify for an NHC qualifier this weekend, and I was sitting about 4th. I think I was in a qualifying position, but there was 2 guys tied right with me. They both used the favorite who I had on top. I took a shot because it's a pick and pray, so I had to pick earlier in the day. My horse wound up 55-1. As they turned for home, I thought I was going to win. Then I thought, I think I'm at least going to get second, which would have propelled me up to the top of the rankings. But eventually he finished a close-up 4th, and the favorite won, which let the guys just behind me leapfrog over me. So it was a little bit frustrating. But anytime it was one of those where, boy, I could have. But anytime you get a run like that from 55-1, you had your fun.
It's Seth. I think last year in October, my ROI for the entire meet was like 209 or 211 or something. That. It was like I couldn't be happier. And I started out this meet 1 for 3 days, Seth. Like 1 for 30 or something like that. I've rebounded a little. But I will be the first to admit it's been very tough. I've had a lot of underneath finishes. I've had a lot of horses that I think are very logical that have stunk. I'm clawing back a little bit. I'm in the mid dollar range, 140, 150 or something like that. The weather hasn't helped, but I found it very, very difficult, admittedly so. This meet at Keeneland has been very, very tough on me. So I'm trying to rebound and end it strongly, but it's been a work in progress, no doubt about it. And I really, that's Keeneland in general, though, isn't it? I mean, You get these races where you have a 10-horse field where 9 of them can win, and 7 of them are 7-1 or lower. So it's tough. It's why we love Keeneland, but it doesn't make it easy. So we're trying to get it going. And see what happens. But yeah, it's been a struggle. I readily admit it.
No, I remember last fall you were doing great, and both spring and fall meet, it's the same thing. Horses are coming in from all over. It's an additional piece to the handicapping puzzle, and it makes it fun, but it makes it tough, certainly. Brian, again, thanks for the thoughts. Next week we'll talk to you. As you said earlier, you will be having arrived already at Churchill, part of their notes team for the Derby, so maybe we'll get some boots on the ground comments for Derby down at Churchill, and appreciate the thoughts this morning. Drive safely to Churchill.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Seth. Thank you. To everybody back home, best of luck. Fun day of racing as well. So we'll talk next week. Take care.
All right, we'll wrap up this edition of the Handicappers Report, but coming up in just a couple, we'll come back for Racing Across America. Stay tuned.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.